Larry Long Jr., you're a master of energy and master of cold call. And that's how we met. You reached out to me cold on LinkedIn and something you said tweaked my interest. What was your interest in reaching out, Larry?
I read your newsletter, and what really hit me, Jim, was your take and perspective around relationships, and that really hit me in the heart. And I said, "Wow, I love to see a leader that leads with the value of relationships." And I think I shared with you that in 2026, it was my goal not to double down, but to triple down on relationships. And just to prove my point that I'm not all talk, I wear this on my chest as well. The power of relationships, Jim.
All right, so you're branded. I got you. Now, Larry, I've come to learn, and we had a previous conversation, and I think I caught you in an airport in
Yes,
Texas,
sir.
and I think you were leaving the rental car area on the shuttle bus on the way to the terminal. And I got to believe that everybody else on that bus that day got both barrels of Larry Long Jr. because you didn't hold back. What I've come to learn is that you're a former athlete. You went to the University of Maryland where you played baseball. Uh, you're a personal brand builder. You have an enormous following on LinkedIn, and that's a pretty discreet and powerful audience. You're a cold outreach success story, and that's what's earned you a seat here today. And you're a high energy communicator, and you're all about performance psychology. What else would you want people to know about you?
Jim, I'm a big believer that everyone's got greatness inside of them. And sometimes people forget it as they go through, and I think the young folks say life be lifing. As life hits them, they forget their inner greatness. So I published a book in 2022 called Jolt. Get zapped into intentionality, rediscover and believe in your inner greatness. And I wrote the book for myself, but I'm sharing it with the world because I had an experience where I forgot just how great I was. And the voice of my father, I lost my father a little over 10 years ago. The voice of my dad came about to say, Larry Long Jr., if you're going to have my name, you need to operate in a spirit of belief in yourself and not a spirit of doubt and a spirit of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. I call that FUD, not Elmer Fudd. But that's really what I want people to know. Life is tough, but tough people, which is you, anyone listening or viewing, are greater than tough times.
Larry, you lead with energy. You're hired by companies to speak to their audiences. Organizations hire you. You travel all over the world speaking to different groups, different audiences all year long. You probably do 50, 60 dates a year, which is exhausting. How were you always a high energy person? Is, in other words, can energy and attitude be learned?
It can with intentionality, and it's folks'
What do
intention.
you mean?
I mean, if you want to bring energy, you have the choice to bring energy. Life is a four-letter word for me. I'm married. I've got kids. Pray for me. My 16-year-old is going through driver's ed. So I go through life, but I make a choice each and every day.
Life's about to change for you.
Woo, and the insurances as well. I looked at the rates. Woo. But Jim, it's a choice that we all get to make each and every day. And I try to encourage folks to not just think it or write it, but to believe it and to act in it that yes, you can make this a great day. It's your choice. I drop my kids off for carpool every time I'm in town, and I love it because I tell them my daughter's 12, little Lucia, middle schooler, my son is 16, high schooler. I tell them, make it a great day, and they share back to me, it's my choice. So I believe that energy, optimism, positivity, not toxic positivity, but we have a choice to look and have a perspective and outlook on life, either this way, up, or that way, negative. I make the choice and I encourage others to have optimism. Everything isn't, it's not all rainbows, sunshines, and unicorns. We know that. We have the opportunity to take every experience, whether it's good or bad, and learn from it.
It's another generation for you, but it sure is nice when it gets here. Larry, take us back to you must have been a gifted athlete your whole life. Your dad must have been an athlete too. For you to get to go to play baseball at a big time program like University of Maryland, what what shaped you more, your successes in baseball or your failure?
Definitely the failures. Definitely the failures. And so some people say that you learn from failure. You definitely do. And what I learned is I don't like that. And I can control the controllables, which there's an acronym called EAT. I'm trying to slim down, Jim, but you can control your emotions, which in baseball, you've got to control your emotions. You can control your actions and your attitude, and you can control how you treat other people. So what I learned through baseball, and actually I have a chapter in my book called Strikeouts. They're a part of life. Every strikeout, it means that you came up to bat. It means that you gave it a try. And it's an opportunity to learn what went well and what are those opportunity areas for improvement that are knocking on our door. Now, that's on the baseball field, but you can also take those to life and to business. You can take it from the baseball diamond to the boardroom, or you come into to the plate, or are you trying big things, big scary things, and are you learning from it, or are you sitting on the sideline saying, I wish I would? Get in there.
Tell me about a time in your sport career where things didn't go the way you'd hoped and wanted, and how you changed your path.
Yes, sir. Freshman year. This would have been 1997. We're going back in the day. Coming out of fall ball, I was number 3 on the depth chart in the outfield. I'm not a math major, but there's 3 outfield positions I thought I would be starting. Well, Larry Long was picking splinters out of the pine. I was on the bench wondering what happened. And unfortunately, my attitude was not one of learning. It was one of being treated unfairly. This isn't fair. And why me? And my dad yoked me up very quickly. I went 1 for my first 26. I was a defensive sub and I was striking out like it was going out of style. And my father asked me, what's going on? How are you feeling? And I told him, I feel terrible. I feel like I don't belong in the ACC. I don't belong in Division One. And my dad said, he had some choice words that I won't share here, but he said, with an attitude like that, how can you expect to succeed? He said, get back to the drawing board and work harder on your skills, but most importantly, work harder on this, your mindset. He said, right now, your attitude is don't strike out, woe is me. Of course you won't have success. Well,
And the coaches don't like me. They're treating me unfairly.
that's it. That's it. I thought that the world was against me, and it wasn't. It was just the circumstances. Well, father knows best, as does mother. But I got back to the drawing board, and most importantly, I got my mind right that when my opportunity comes, I'm going to make the most of it. Now, University of North Carolina, they came to town. I got put in the 7th inning. I got a blue pit over the first baseman's head. I was on top of the world, Jim. You couldn't tell me nothing. The next day I started, went 3 for 4. Sunday, I started, went 2 for 4. I ended up starting the rest of the year, batted 319, batted 319 in the ACC, 289 overall. All it took was someone to believe in me when I didn't believe in myself. And once that belief came about, I was unstoppable.
So your dad has a real stern conversation with you. What did you do with that? Were you annoyed? He's wrong. What trigger? What happened? What event caused you to say, I got to change my mind. I got to approach this differently?
I just put this in my newsletter. Feedback. Feedback is a gift if you accept it. And he hit me. He hit me where it hurt, Jim. He hit me in all my feels because he knew. My father ran track at University of Maryland. His nickname was Shorty Long. I'm 5'9". My dad was 5 foot nothing. Long jump, triple jumper. He had great success. So he knew, and he came from the hood, from the projects of Baltimore City. So he hit me where it hurt, and he's someone who I looked up to, who I valued his opinion. So it fired me up that if my dad is telling me this out of love, out of wanting me to succeed, I better take action with it. I can't just take that feedback and do nothing and shut down, or else what am I doing on this earth? So I went back to the drawing board And I started just taking rep after rep. And then I started working on my positive, really, it's affirmations. Yes, you can. You're here for a reason, Larry. You dominated in high school. You dominated in travel ball. You're here for a reason. Let's go get it.
So, how important are affirmations in your life today?
Vital. Because, Jim, I can't speak for anyone else, but I've got this voice on this side. I call it Cletus that tells me all the things that I can't do. Larry, who do you think you are joining Jim's podcast? No one cares about your story. Larry, who do you think you are speaking on stages across the globe? No one cares. You're not good enough. Thankfully, my father's voice inspires me to say, Larry, you do have a story. You do have lessons learned and lessons earned that are designed to help people. And that's your purpose on this earth, is to help others to step into their greatness. So it's an everyday battle, Jim, every day, because that voice Cletus is trying to bring me down. My father's voice stepping into my voice lifts me up.
Your affirmations change, Larry?
They do. And I don't know if you can tell. I'm a bit wild.
Do you write them down?
No, I just say them out loud. I do not write them down. I like to talk to myself. I just like to talk. And
geez, we would have never suspected
that. My teachers growing up used to always say, Larry, hush, you talk too much and you never shut up. Now I get paid to serve and speak. It's a miracle. I pinch myself every day. I think Kevin Garnett said it best. Anything is possible.
He's got a different height profile than you do. But so tell me, do you get up in the morning? Do you do affirmations? I'm looking for something here that our audience, someone in our audience, can say, boy, I listened to this guy, Larry Long Jr., and that day when I listened to him, I started doing something different. And I started these affirmations, and it's changing the way I think about myself. What affirmation, did you do affirmations today? Do you do them every day? Do you do them when you're traveling? What role do they play? How do they come about?
I am somebody. That's my affirmation every day, all day. And here goes why. When I was 8 years old, I moved around a lot as a youngster. I grew up in VA medical centers, Alabama, Illinois, Nebraska, Pennsylvania, and I had a big old gap tooth. And I like to smile, and kids let me know that I had a gap tooth. I would come home crying, saying no one likes me. And my mom, thankfully, I had a praying mom. We would say our prayer at night, and then she used to make me stand in the middle of the room, hands above my head, and say 10 times out loud, I am somebody. When you say that, now all of a sudden, you got little nappy-headed Larry Long Jr. walking through the halls with his George Jefferson strut, thinking, I am somebody. Now, my mom said, hey, baby, you are somebody, but other than your mom and your dad, no one else really cares. She said, I got to temper you down. But having her speak into my life, that continues today. Because when you say it, now all of a sudden, you start to believe it. And when you believe it, you start to operate. And I can't put a pulse on it, but there's something about that confidence, Jim, that just, some people call it the it factor, where you're like, wow, that person really believes in themselves. If you don't believe in yourself, and I think you asked, what's the affirmation? I am somebody.
Make this spring one to remember. Have friends over for a Sunday brunch, or celebrate special occasions like birthdays and baby showers with delicious food and gourmet gifts. In your professional life, I would imagine that there are stories that are constant, that help you to deliver a message, to deliver a lesson. And I imagine there are stories that are changing every day for you, just as you go through life. What's a story of recent vintage of yours that's had an impact on you and how you think?
Well, actually, Jim, it's you. I don't know if your ears have been tingling, but I've been sharing the story of how I read your newsletter. It resonated. And I don't know if you remember the message I sent you on LinkedIn, but it wasn't perfect. It wasn't great grammar, but it was straight from the heart. And I meant every word that I said, which I imagine that's why you responded back to me. Because with Chat GPT and Larry GPT, everything is so buttoned up and perfect. I realized that that's my superpower is just being me. I think they call it being authentic. Well, what does that mean? It means being you and being confident in you. I tell people you're one of one. You are a masterpiece. So the lesson that I'm learning is that, hey, I realize I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. If I was for everybody, I would be for nobody. I'm for folks that I call it the give a damn factor. They care about people. They care about service. They care about relationships, not just talking, but in action. And they prove it over and over and over again.
Larry, when you visit all these different companies and organizations that you work with around the country, around the world, you run into all different kinds of leaders. I'm trying to get to your energy level and how infectious it is. I assume some people are going to be put off by it as well. You said you're not for everybody. But when you meet different leaders, are there leaders you say they have some energy? I'd follow them. And are there other leaders you say, geez, how did they get to be a leader? They're so low energy. What role does energy play in leadership and in management?
I believe energy plays a great role in all of life, but especially for our leaders. If I have a leader who's lethargic, you might have all the knowledge in the world, all the skills, but this is just me. And there's different strokes for different folks, but I'm going to have a tough time following you if you don't have the energy and you're showing it that you're enthused about what we're doing. That's really it's the care. There's a saying, Jim. No one cares how much you know until they know how much you care. So it's the energy for service, and service is action. It's showing people. I love these sayings because I think about them all day. The little things are really the big things. I call it the 3 minute challenge. Every day, I actually do the 15-minute challenge, but every day
All right, what's the 3 minute challenge?
every day you pick out one person from your Rolodex. And I know some of your listeners are saying, Rolodex, is that the fancy watch? No, that's a Rolex.
That's 100-year-old man.
Go into your contacts in your contact list. And all I want you to do is surprise and delight one person every day. If you were my surprise and delight, Jim, I would probably find a funny GIF or meme with a bloodhound. And I would say, woo, what's going on with those John Jay alums, the bloodhounds? You would say, whoa, he did a little bit of research. Whoa, Larry's thinking about me on this terrific Tuesday. Whoa, I like this guy. And that's a little thing that doesn't cost a dime, that has the potential to make a big impact.
So that's giving. That's putting yourself out there because the person could go, I don't remember who Larry Long is, or they could go, I'm just going to ignore this, or he's probably trying to sell me something. So that's risk. You're taking a risk with that 3 minutes each day, but then some percentage of the time, and I don't know what it is, some percentage of the time that someone's going to respond and say, "Hey, long time no chat. How you been? Let's catch up." If you measure the times that people don't respond, that might be disappointing. But if you only measure the hits, isn't that what good salespeople do?
That's right. It's the mindset. It's looking at the wins and celebrating the quote unquote little wins. I don't need big wins in order to keep going. It's the little wins that keep me going. And I encourage people, what you focus on is generally how you feel. So if you focus on the strikeouts, chances are you're going to have more strikeouts. Chances are you're going to feel down in the dumps. When you focus on those wins, those impactful moments where you've actually changed people's lives, you're going to have great success.
So what you measure, what you keep track of matters to how you feel, right?
1000%. You are what you eat, which would make me a fried chicken, Jim. But essentially, who are the people that you surround yourself? What podcasts, what TV stations, radio stations are you listening to? It has an impact, from my experience, on your mood, on your actions, on your results. I think they say if you surround yourself with 10 negative Nancys, negative Nellies, negative Neds, you're probably going to be the 11th negative one in the group. Whereas if you surround yourself with positive people, now you at least have a chance.
Let me give you a real life picture here.
Sorry.
My youngest son, Matt, used to work on Wall Street, and he was in the fundraising business. So he'd work for private equity companies or fund companies, and his job was to raise money for their different strategies. So he'd have to figure out who would best be suited to invest in a particular strategy. Was it a family office? Was it a pension plan? Uh, he'd have to study how are they, what's their mix of investments, what should their mix be, and then target call. And he said to me, Dad, I'm really not a good salesman at all. There are a lot of people who are really good salesmen. I'm not. I just make it up with research and dogged outreach. And I said, I think you got it all wrong. I think you are a good salesman. Doesn't mean you're slick. Doesn't mean you got the one liners and you can overwhelm them with charm. Because at the end of the day, that doesn't matter. What matters is performance. And good salespeople do exactly that. They dog it in their pursuit, and they only keep track of their yeses.
Love it. It also comes down to your definition of sales. A lot of folks think that sales is being slick and selling ice to an Eskimo. That's not my definition of sales. I believe sales is service. And when I think about sales, I think we're playing matchmaker. We're matching whatever we have, a product, a service, a thought, an idea, with someone else's needs, their wants, their desires, their challenges, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. And the only way to understand that is to ask questions and then leverage the two ears and the one mouth that we've mostly been blessed with to listen and learn what they are for the other person. How can I serve you? How can I support you? How can I help you get to where you want to get to? That's my definition of sales.
When you get an hour with a group of leadership in a company, what is it you can entertain them for an hour,
Yeah.
no question, and I'm certain you're really good at that. But I know you don't want to entertain; you want to change behavior. What are you doing to change behavior, and how do you know if you've been successful?
Yeah, great question. So it's interactive. I'm not a lecturer in 1890. No, we're going to be interactive and we're going to do the hard work. We're going to work on priorities. We're going to work on goal setting. We're going to work on what actions you take consistently, and we're going to document it. And you're going to find an accountability partner that you can support and can support you. So often I see folks, they want to do it alone. They think they've got to be Superman or Superwoman. I haven't met too many leaders or too many folks that have had success doing it by themselves. So essentially, how do we make sure we take what we learn and actually apply it with consistency, with intentionality, with thoughtfulness, so that we're not just spinning our wheels into never ever land? So that's my whole purpose when I come in and work with organizations. Let's take what we learned and let's turn it to action, and let's have fun while we do it. You shared this about your son Matt. As a sales leader, my three goals: number one, hit our goals. That's why we have targets. I love it. I don't care whether you like me or not. Did I hit my number or not? Number two, let's learn and grow each and every day. If I don't learn something new in a day, that was a day wasted. Number three, let's have some fun. If we're doing number one at a high level, number two at a high level, number three just naturally comes about from my experience.
How important are personal brands? You are a brand. You've crafted your personal brand. You're deliberate and intentional about how people see you, what they hear about you, what they come to believe about you. That's with intentionality. What counsel do you give to people you're working with about their own brand?
You have a brand, whether you believe it or not. People are making decisions about you, either positively or negatively, based on who you are and how you operate. Word gets around. So I'm very intentional to make sure that I project exactly how I want to present, and I do it authentically, because guess what, Jim? Most people can smell BS from a mile away. They can tell when you're not being authentic. They can tell when you're trying to be someone else, and it stinks. So that's why I encourage people to be yourself and to expand. I had a young lady who said, Larry, I grew up in a household where it was always negative, negative, negative. My parents beat me down. And I said, okay, that was your childhood. And I understand that there's trauma behind that, and you want to seek counsel from a licensed professional, and you have the ability to write the narrative for today and going forward. Just because that's the way that you grew up doesn't mean that that's the way that you need to operate today, tomorrow, and the next day. We have a choice. So that's really what I'm looking to provide for folks.
The breakthrough for me in terms of public speaking was someone who coached me early on said, "You're not a public speaker. You're there to tell a story that teaches."
Ooh.
And it was like an unlock for me, Larry. Once I understood that the way people listen, the way people learn is through stories. And, if you tell stories and they're from your past, you don't have to memorize anything. When you're telling that story, you're living it, you're seeing it, you're remembering it, you're smelling what it smelled like when you were in that garden back then.
That's right.
And that was the unlock for me, is to be genuine and tell a story.
You're talking my language again, Jim. There's a reason why I enjoy speaking with you, because everyone's got a story, and our stories have lessons. And when we learn lessons, there's oftentimes a story attached to it. So, and when you think about sales, I think that storytelling is actually story selling. And there's no shame in selling, because you're serving, you're helping.
But go back there, back it up, pal. Beep, beep, beep. A lot of people think selling is negative.
It's all about your perspective. A lot of people think
Well,
that
what are you, a salesman? What are you trying to sell me?
I'm trying to help you. And yes, I'm a sales professional. Sales professionals aren't, I don't know if you've ever been to the mall, but sometimes I go in the mall and they want to squirt the lotion in my hand. And I'm like, I'm not Ashy Larry today. I'm moisturized, so I don't need no lotion. Sales is about asking questions to find out, what do people want? What do they need? And then also helping them to expand their horizons. I hear what you're saying, Jim. This is what you want. Have you explored this? I'm going to get you out of your comfort zone. I'm going to plant some seeds and paint a picture of what is possible that you didn't even believe was possible. So that's what sales is for me. It really is about serving others, helping them get to where they want to get to, and being that coach, that guide, that Sherpa that's right alongside helping them get there. I think you said host, being that host that helps take them to where they want to get to.
Larry, you're too young a man, but one of my heroes and great teachers of this world since past was a man named Zig Ziglar.
I'm familiar with Zig.
And Zig Ziglar was the dean of sales and training and motivational speaking and just being a great teacher.
That's right.
And you touched on something that reminded me of Zig Ziglar in that your comment there, which was sales is about helping other people get what they want. And if you're good enough at that and you do it with some frequency, you'll get everything you want. In other words, his line was, the greatest way to success in life is to help other people get what they want.
That's right. So true.
And if you can identify that and help them there, somehow, some way, you'll get everything you need and want in your life as well.
It's amazing. When you serve others, it's amazing how it comes back to you 20-fold when you serve genuinely. When you do it for selfish reasons, survey says, nerd. But when you do it out of the goodness of your heart, it's amazing what can become, Jim.
Break out the barbecue and get fired up for a season full of mouth-watering meals. Stock up on gourmet grillers and round out the spread with delicious desserts. Make summer sizzle.
So you're on that shuttle bus from the rental car lot on the way back to the terminal, and you're sitting across from a guy who's clearly not having a great day. Do you just fold your hands in your lap and say it's only 3 more minutes to the terminal? Or do you say, I have an opportunity here?
Jim, you should be a lawyer. You're asking questions you already know the answer to. I'm going to reach out and touch someone. And I'm very observant. In these days where so many folks are, their head is down, I tell my kids, and I try to demonstrate it, to be present in every situation. So if I see someone where it's evident they're not having a good time, or it's evident they are having a good time, I'm going to spark up a question. How are you today? The question I love to ask folks is, tell me something good. Because sometimes when you ask folks, how are you? Oh, you'll never believe the dog bit me and I slept on the wrong side of the bed. Now we're going down.
I bit the dog.
We're going down the wrong way. But when you ask people to tell me something good, and it's amazing how many folks say, I don't know. And then I just keep quiet. And then they start thinking, oh, let me share with you that my son just got a new job or my grandkids are getting married. There's always something good that's happening in our life. Oftentimes, we sweep it under the rug because it's not good enough. It's not big enough. But when you frame it with tell me something good each and every day, life is amazing. Amazing.
Okay, okay. How do you get those people around you, Larry? Uh, some people say, I don't have the support. My wife doesn't support what I do. There's no one really I can turn to. How do you break out of that? What do you do to get that response from them? What's your responsibility in that relationship?
It's everything. It falls on you. What spaces, what places are you putting yourself? So if you're not getting it at home, I'm not going to give you any marital advice, but I'm going to say put on your thinking cap and think, where can I go to be around optimistic, positive people? There's opportunities in every community. I don't care where you're at, Florida, New York, Texas, California, Australia, Singapore. There's spaces and places with great people, but it falls on you to put yourself in those spaces.
All right, let's be more specific there, Larry.
Yeah,
We both know people who are in recovery, have gone through 12-step programs.
right.
That's where they find community support, reinforcement, connectivity. You mentioned that you had a coach for 5 years. How did you find a coach? Where do you look for that? So you're asking people to be deliberate. I'm asking you to be specific about how you want people to be deliberate, to be around the right people, to tell people what you want and need from them, what you would be beneficial for you to get from them in that relationship. You say whether it's in Australia or Portugal, they should go. Be specific about how they intentionally involve themselves in good, healthy, and positive relationships and what their responsibilities are, what they should be bringing to those dialogues that create those relationships.
I love it. My coach shared with me, Larry, healthy people ask for exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. So for you listening in, tuning in, viewing this, I encourage you to ask your neighbors, to ask your coworkers and colleagues for exactly what you want. I'm looking for a mentor. I'm looking for a community of supportive people. I'm looking for an entrepreneurial community, a professional community. Do you have any recommendations? First person says no, you move on to the next person. You share with them specifically what you're looking for. With social media, LinkedIn, you can put a post asking folks, I need your guidance. When you say that you need help, there's so many people that love to help when you put it out there. But so many times we want to have that ego where we won't ask for help. We're going to suffer in silence, and I'm guilty as charged. When my business was failing, I didn't let anyone know. Help. I needed some help. There were so many people out there that would help me if I just opened my mouth. So right now, specifically, open your mouth and share exactly what you want. If you need help, you can come to me, Larry at LarryLongJr.com. If you email me, I guarantee you I'll email you back. Reach out to me. I will help you, but don't stop at me. Look at your sphere of influence. Those people, family members, friends. It's out there, but you've got to take the initiative.
I have a new friend. His name is Sean Lesser. And Sean, originally from New York, Long Island, was in Atlanta in the financial business. The business came to an end, and he felt like he was unplugged, like he didn't have a reason to exist, and he fell into a terrible state of depression. He didn't know what to do. His wife didn't know what to do. They were really at wit's end. So he said, take me to the emergency room. It wasn't that helpful to him, as you'd expect, because they're not properly equipped to help people with mental health issues, and very few places are. But then his wife got the idea to call a friend of his, a guy he was friendly with.
That's right.
They were friendly because they were coaching kids sports together. And she said, my husband Sean needs help, and I don't know how strong your relationship is with him, but I just thought that he always spoke highly of you. I just thought I'd reach out. And he said, I got it from here. I've gone through the same thing myself. I've never told Sean that. And he became his, so to speak, sponsor. Right. And Sean got through a very tough period of more than a year, almost 2 years. And Sean's made it his mission now to help other people, particularly men, who seem to suffer in silence. Right. And he's created an organization called The Real. and is asking people to sign up to be ambassadors, to be available to help other people like his buddy did him. And I think that speaks to exactly what you're talking about, and telling people what you need from them, what you want from them, and what you want to bring to the equation. And I think by asking people for help, you're paying them a compliment. You're paying them a compliment because you think enough of them, A, to expose yourself, and B, that you think highly enough of them that they can help. So I think too many of us don't reach out for help. And I think you being generous by saying, this is how you can reach out to me and I will connect with you, is a tremendous act of generosity. But I also suspect it's how you get your own energy, your own endorphin release, because it feels good when you at least try to help somebody else.
I love to help others. I grew up in VA medical centers. Both of my parents worked for the VA, serving our veterans who served us. I'm on the board of WakeMed Foundation. We support WakeMed Hospital. Right now, we've got a huge $50 million fundraise that we call the Courage to Confront Crisis. The mental health crisis that we're facing right now is the responsibility of the community to support. Everyone's been touched by mental health crisis at one point or another, either personally or one-off. We're actually doing something. We're building a 150 bed here in Wake County in North Carolina to show the courage and show the support that our community needs. Something you mentioned, Jim, hit me really hard. So many men suffer in silence. I had the opportunity to speak for the DAV, Disabled American Veterans. They have a Patriot Boot Camp, and they had 10 entrepreneurs, and 4 of the entrepreneurs had services and products to support and really prevent veteran suicide. It's a crisis, and it takes each and every one of us as individuals. No one can solve it by themselves, but I believe collectively, and that's why I love to hear about the real. I think his name was Sean. I love that. And we need more of that. And we can all make a difference. Once again, the little things are really the big things. When you truly and sincerely care about others and you show it, the impact that you can make is unimaginable.
Larry, let's end with a bit of advice for a group of people that's confronting challenges right now that didn't exist 2 years ago. Young people finishing up school, looking to enter the workforce. It's getting more and more challenging to find a job. I heard from a young lady recently graduated from St. John's University in Queens last year. She said, I have all this debt from my borrowing for tuition and expenses. I'm still living with my parents, and now I'm a much better educated hostess in the same restaurant I've been working in for 3 years. I can't find a job. What's your advice to 3 things a young person who's confronting a tough job market should be thinking and doing right now?
SME, I think they call that subject matter expert. I don't. S is strategy. What's your plan? What's your game plan? Who are you going to network with strategically? Who are you going to reach out to strategically to share what you're exactly looking for? The M is mindset. And I spoke to a gentleman yesterday who said, Larry, I want to break into the speaking industry. I'm 67 years old. Is there ageism? Of course there's ageism. There's racism. That's what we deal with. And I encourage him to have the mindset that his message needs to be told for someone to hear. It's okay. It is what it is. We're going to rock and roll with the punches. So for those students that are graduating, making sure your mindset is right where it needs to be. Optimistic, positive, focused on the great things that you're going to do and that you have to offer. The E, on your mark, get set, go. Take action and execute on the game plan. You've got a game plan. Now you've got to run the plays. Now you've got to flex. When things don't go right for you and you zigged and you should have zagged, it's okay. You can make those adjustments. And please know you're right where you need to be. Be confident in yourself. There's a saying that my mom used to say when I was growing up. She said, Larry, don't cry about the results you're not getting from the work you haven't done. Ooh. I had to look in the mirror and say, there's no mystery why I'm batting 219. I haven't put in the work. There's a reason why I'm not getting the grades that I want to get in school. I haven't hit the bugs. There's no mystery to success. And most successful people have hit failure. I saw a Hall of Fame speaker, Ty Bennett. He spoke, and his sons are in the American Ninja Warrior. And this impacted my 12-year-old. He had an arrow that said success and had another arrow that said failure. His sons turned it around and said they're not opposite directions. Failure is what you need in order to become a success. When my daughter shared with me that was her takeaway, all the feels. And that was advice that I had to take myself, that, hey, when you put yourself out there, you might not be successful. But when you stick with it, you're now getting yourself towards that success. So for any youngsters, any college kids, high schoolers, I encourage you, be bold, be brave, be audacious, be confident in yourself each and every day. Do the big things, the scary things, and just put your seatbelt on, because you never will imagine where it could take you.
Thank you, Larry Long Jr. How do people get in touch with you? Do they connect with you on LinkedIn? What website do they go to find out more about where you're going to be, when you're going to be teaching and coaching and speaking?
Yeah, I appreciate you so much, Jim. The best place to connect with me, I'm LinkedIn Larry. So LinkedIn, Larry Long Jr., the man with the microphone. I do have a website. It's a tough one, Larry Long Jr. That's jr.com. I would love to connect with you. Please let me know what I can do to support you, how I can help you, how I can serve as a resource. It would be my great privilege.
Thank you, Larry Long. I suspect you'll have a very good day.
Thank you so much, Jim.
Bye-bye.